You alright guys, welcome to my channel. This is Crypto Type, the inflation avoider, and what a Friday night we had. Bloody hell, that was heavy, and also presented opportunities, so it's not all bad. Now I did plan on doing a video that were inside and a bit quieter, but unfortunately I tried and there were just too many things going on, so I wasn't able to do that. So I'm now trying again to do the video now, and I might do something in the coming days to sort of go over and pick the bones out of things. So this is more of just looking at what happened, and yeah, what a crash that was. I'm sure for any, especially those people, and let me know in the comments as well if you experienced it real time. I did, and it meant reacting, keeping your nerve, and hovering. It's like really testing it was, and a really good learning experience as well for anybody who's like me, not being in crypto that long. I have seen on the charts the retraces and things like that, and the dumps and the things like this, but to actually experience it, I did. Even in July it wasn't this fast and this intense. This was like a kind of disaster sweeping through, and luckily the good news is, I don't know why I'm calling it good news, but the good news is it also happened in the S&P 500 as well. It was more probably, like people are saying, some manipulation of prices going on by those in high places, and they have all the power after all, and they know what's happening. We don't have that luxury, so we're all retail. These guys are the actual people who are manipulating the markets, and we can only react to it. And I think pretty much the best reaction was to just steady yourself and not react more than anything else. Just wait for opportunity, and those opportunities, my God, did they come. And yes, I managed to pick up a shed load of Casper at 2 cents, and the only reason I didn't get on at 1 cent is because I had not been able to get the order through on the exchanges, because as we know, the exchanges were absolute disaster zone, weren't they? But this is a key reminder to people that if you're wanting to get your orders through, set those limit orders, set those ones where the speculative, it's always worth having one. I actually cancelled one at 6 cents for Casper because the way it would just tip in, and I'm looking at it and it's like, yeah, this is going to be a special one. I don't know why, you just knew, and I knew we were overdue. I knew there had to be a shakeout. I've said it before in my videos that I was suspicious. This was too easy, and nothing in life is that easy. And if you want to make the big money, you have to risk and go through the ringer first. It's not just handed to you. It is going to make you shit yourself. You are going to be thinking you've lost it all, and then, only then, when you're convinced alt season is over, will alt season happen. And if it's playing out like that, the indicators are very positive, but you've got to remember, it might be all over. This is a dicey world we live in, and also with risk assets, really, people are putting the money into gold and silver because you could have a world war at any time. We've been on the edge of one of them for years anyway. We're overdue a world war. We're overdue a financial crash, and it's expected in 2026 at some point. Something has to give. So people are not taking as many risks. Liquidity is not pouring into altcoins like it should be. Retail are not coming into crypto as we would have hoped. All of that is set against us, but this is why it's key. It's lucky that the distraction of the S&P 500 crashing as well, and with Donald Trump probably being the catalyst. But come on, in June, July, when it first all kicked off, we got the drops down then. There were that should have been more fear, more much lower prices if compared to this, because we've already seen what happens. Not a lot, it ends up being all sorted out in the end. Donald Trump, bluster, goes high and meets in the middle somewhere. So we know this, so why has it done it this time? It does seem like price manipulation, and where there's price manipulation and people trying to crash you out the market, people trying to force you out the market, you have to ask why. And if they're trying to force you out of the market, maybe it is a very good time to be in the market, and maybe taking advantage of opportunities like the cheap as chips alts that they were. Really bargain prices. I picked up some more Solana as well. The Casper, that sorted me out for what I'd have bought over the course of a year. Absolutely madness. So I don't know whether I think I said, but so it went through. I cancelled my 6 cents order that I had in, but it did crash through the 4 cents one that I'd forgotten all about. And ironically enough as well, while money's piling into that, cancelled because I was doing it in US stablecoin. The ones that I'd initially set ages ago, which were speculative, really speculative. I'm like, they're never going to get met, but never mind. All the ones in my pound sterling, them orders, unsuccessful, because there's nothing in the pound sterling. It was all in stablecoin, so they're all unsuccessful. I've got a whole queue of them, and it's like they all came in. Jesus, I never ever thought I'd see them prices. They were speculative, just pure speculation. That we're talking things like AVAX hitting $8 or something like that. I can't remember what it was. I can't remember what AVAX actually ended up dropping to, but you get my point. Things like Injective at because it's in pounds, so it gets a bit complex, but I'd set them at pounds and they crashed through all them orders because there were nothing in the actual, it were all in stable coins, so all the stuff in pounds, they're just getting notification after notification, and it was like, geez, I never ever thought I'd see the day those got hit. So that's why it's worthwhile making sure you have those limit orders on. This is why, for times like this, it might not happen that often, but when they do, you'll be glad you did. And I took some at 4 cents Casper, and then when it got down to 1, I am trying to buy in. This was a big one, and finally at 2 cents, boom, got it in, got the order in, and there we are. Very, very nice average price on Casper, and I am so glad that I did not use all my liquidity in the advance. I know some people did. I know somebody spent about $2,000 a day before at 7.5 cents and wasn't around at 1 cent to be able to pick it up, wasn't around at 2 cents, but did appear at about 6 cents, and I think that's what Casper is currently at. But my goodness, what a day. I do like days like that, and we are on the verge of something either fantastic or something absolutely heartbreaking. But you've got to have patience and a long-term plan as well, and this is why I have a long-term plan, and it's about certain crypto that I think is going to do well long-term rather than just the short-term. I do have my alt-season plays as well, don't get me wrong, they're all there ready to go, but some of them are long-term. Now, I had somebody asked me in the comments, have you got any predictions for the next 8 years? And it's like, well, actually, funny you should mention that. But I did mention the other day in a video, I think it was last week before, and I was saying about how I envisage the future of crypto and why I'm keen on investing in crypto, is that they will end up being a survival of the fittest scenario, because there's so many altcoins and they'll continue to grow and be more, whether it's meme coins, whether it's real world assets, whether it's whatever. They're going to continue to grow and grow and grow. The market cannot sustain putting liquidity into all of them. So, where we used to the 4-year cycles where prices all retrace, maybe 50%, 75%, even more in some cases. Well, what I reckon will happen is that might not be this alt season, but we did see a hint of it yesterday when Ethereum, Bitcoin, Solana, BNB all weren't impacted quite as badly as everything else, and I think that is like a little sign of things to come. We've just witnessed something there, and what will happen, like I said, might not be this 4-year cycle. I think it needs time to mature, and that's when things start losing, when it's going to lose its volatility, when you're not going to see the top, it'll affect the top coins, where the top ones, they'll continue to go up, but they're not going to be as volatile. Now, how I see that playing out is you'll get to the end of a 4-year cycle, might be in 8 years, sounds reasonable, could be 12. But when that retrace happens, rather than everything retracing 70, 80, 90%, what you'll see is Bitcoin, Ethereum, probably Solana, and a select number of others, maybe Chainlink, something like that. They won't crash. They will just sit at about the price they were at, maybe drop 5%, 10% top, but that'll be it. So instead, what people normally do is like cash out of all their alts and maybe rotate into Bitcoin, but then they might later long term want to have Ethereum because it's a good long term one to have as well, but you won't get that opportunity to buy Ethereum cheap anymore. It's just going to stay at the price or in and around the price, and what I call that is everything finding its value. So Bitcoin, that price that it's at, it's confirming this is my price, this is my value, and you're not going to be able to get it. And especially with Bitcoin, as it's scarcer and scarcer, that price will push up and just will not return. And I think this is where the wealthy are really going to take advantage of it, because they can afford to buy up loads and loads now, and there'll be a time that price is never in our reach ever again, and a few others. And if you can identify which ones of those are going to do that and stay up there, then you'll be pretty wealthy yourself. You'll do well out of it. But for the rest, they will drop, retrace anywhere between 75, 90, 99% even, and that will be the price they pretty much always stay at, aside from the random pump that might happen in something with low liquidity, which happens because of the low liquidity. So, but that'll be more of a gamble. It'll be a hype thing, and those people who are chasing them will end up losing a lot of money just doing that, because it'll just be like the equivalent of one rug pull after another. So, but the maturer ones, they will start to be more sensible, but they'll be higher priced. And the ones that, the projects where there's nothing going on and that, they'll just go along and be dead basically and worthless. So people, what I'm saying here is there'll come an alt season where those people who don't sell will be left holding their bags of nothing, and that will never ever recover. But those people who pick wisely and are looking into the technology and real world usage and see the future of them, and those people will be rewarded, because those prices will stay high and they will be your backbone of your portfolio from then on. So that's what I see the future as, and we've got a little taster of it in this crash. And my god, like I said, it was like an earthquake, and that's one thing to warn you about, isn't it? Because we all know what happens after earthquakes. You get the aftershock, and I wouldn't be too surprised if there's more to come. So if you do have liquidity, get your limit orders set and get prepared. Make sure it is now in the exchanges in preparation, because you might not be able to get it in when it's happening. Have it maybe in your stable coins, well, probably best, get them making you some interest in the meantime, and just get those limit orders prepared and be prepared to be flexible. But yeah, I'm not panicking. I feel upbeat. It's now make or break. We are heading into make or break. It might already be broken, we don't know. But if you've held onto your crypto, you're about to find out sooner rather than later whether your bravery has been worth it, and if not, what can you do about it? Anyway, thank you for watching. Do take a moment to hit the subscribe button. I'm nearly on 100 subscribers now, so that's my first target met. So thanks to everybody who's subscribed so far. Also, don't forget to hit that like button, because it really helps with the algorithm getting this video seen. And do leave a comment, let me know if you watched it, if you were there real time, and let me know how you felt and what your experiences were. And is there any takeaways that you've learned? Is there anything that has made you maybe reassess your strategy or portfolio? I might be looking to go safe. Now I've got pretty much what I want on, I might now look to go safer into the just stick with putting the majority bulk of my money that comes in into Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana and BNB, and just leave it at that for the time being. I think I've got enough to go with if alt season kicks off in a great way, so not much else I can do. Anyway guys, catch you later, bye bye.